We're back once again on the county seat. We're talking about agricultural sustainability, a task force report that was just released within the last few days. Let me introduce our panel to you, and there's some of the people that were behind this task force report. First of all, we have Lieutenant Governor Greg Bell. Next to him, we have Leonard Blackham, Commissioner Leonard Blackham, because he is the Commissioner of the Utah Agriculture and Food Department. And next to him is Commissioner Larry Ellertson of Utah County, a major agriculture producer in the state. Lieutenant Governor, what were some of the issues facing agriculture in Utah that led to the convening of this task force and this report?
Probably the prime one was food security. Our Commissioner of Agriculture has educated the state and the governor and myself about the need to have some food security. You know, it's wonderful to have world trade and trade throughout the United States, but depending upon the stability of things, then you want to be able to eat. Most people eat quite often.
When you say food security, and which way are you using the term security?
I mean security in the terms of a supply that is adequate, that is safe and reliable. And while we certainly have international products and we contribute to that as well, still right at home we want to be able to get bread and butter.
And how much is Utah dependent on agriculture for its economy? We all depend on food, but how much of Utah agriculture is a percentage?
Let's let the Commissioner tell us those numbers.
Commissioner Blackham?
Well, agriculture in the state of Utah, with the processing of agriculture products, is about 14 to 15% of the state economy. So it's fairly significant. And it's very important, of course, in rural communities. And so to preserve that for that food security so we can produce at least as much as we can locally, it seems to be important.
How long did it take you to study this issue and release this report?
Well, it took us about a half a year. And we had quite a bit of research done, and we studied different areas as we went. We evaluated the amount of production we have. It's like on our meat. We just about produce enough meat to feed ourselves. I thought we'd be way over. But you got to remember, we eat a lot of chicken in this nation. Mm-hmm. We don't produce any chicken that we consume here. And on our beef, we produce about what we'd really consume. We overproduce on turkeys, we overproduce on pork, but we're way under, of course, in chicken because we do none. And so even in the meat sector, it's interesting to see that we produce just about our needs in the meat sector. In fruits and vegetables, we're way under what we consume. And we never will be too high because, we like to eat fresh and they need to be grown in California or Florida or Arizona because of our short growing season. But what the desire was, and we know the people do not want to be dependent upon foreign food like we are dependent on foreign oil.
Now, a big concern for this report, too, was the growth in the state of Utah, the urbanization, and the loss of agricultural lands. The USDA says that over the last 40 years, we've lost agricultural land equal to the entire size of Delaware and Rhode Island. And I know Utah County, Larry, has a lot of agricultural land and a lot of urbanization. Are you seeing this problem in your county?
It does exist in Utah County, very much so. As our population continues to grow, we have been the fastest growing state in terms of actual numbers of population for the last several years. And as such, it takes land to do that. We see a number of issues that come before the commission and to the county of developments that are going in the rural areas or people who are looking to subdivide lands. And it is disappearing. Now, we still have a healthy amount of land, but if projections are sustained within the next 20 or 30 years, we double the population. That's going to put some real pressure on those lands.
And some agricultural production you can just move to the hinterland. Hay fields tend to transplant well. Mm-hmm. But you can't move orchard soil is very unique, and truck farming, West Davis County, carrots, onions, those vegetables, you just can't grow those anywhere.
Well, there's a big move across the country to eat local, and one impetus behind this move is that you cut out those transportation costs and keep the cost of food down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if we're losing agricultural land in the state of Utah, what are you recommending as a task force we do to change this trend?
Well, when you asked me what's the most important thing we addressed, it was a runoff really between the issue of food security and urban conflict with ag, because so far we've just had an inexorable march to more and more urbanization. Utah, paradoxically, is one of the most urban states in the United States with all this open space we have. But as subdivisions come, then farmers get complaints about the animals, about the pesticides, the herbicides, and so those conflicts are really, really difficult. Well, we've gotten smarter about it, and we've found municipalities want to accommodate both. We can do that. Santaquin is a wonderful example of a smaller city that has decided, yeah, we want some growth, but we also want our heritage, we want our orchards, we want our fruit.
You've been in the agriculture business for a long time, Commissioner Blackham, turkey farming down in Moroni. You've seen it change over the years too. What do you see are some of the important facets that we need to change in order to keep agriculture sustained in Utah?
Well, I think a lot of it's just some general philosophy and then support and policy to support that philosophy. We all talk about the importance of food, but oftentimes when it comes down to the actions, then it's just a little weak. We've found, like on highway development, the people that make those decisions need to make sure that they get the information about the important lands that they're considering going through, and they need to ponder that carefully. Now, oftentimes there won't be an alternative, you know, and they'll have to go through that prime ag land. But here on the Wasatch Front, there's lands that are unique in their soils, they're unique in their climate, and so the capacity that they have are kind of unique. And so a large portion of this is the issue of getting government, state and local governments, when they consider condemning property, especially ag land, that they got all the information before them. And then, if they can, try to avoid it. And if it's not reasonable to avoid it, then they'll have to be. But you know, to try to preserve some capacity for that important use for fruits and vegetables.
That's absolutely essential. I really appreciate the Commissioner weighing in and being a voice, because if you're a road builder or a developer and you come and you see homes and roads and wetlands are set aside by federal law, and then there's just this big open field, it's just been too easy to put it right out in the field. And Leonard's not saying that we're going to leave all ag land, but he's saying that we need to raise the level of inquiry to understand that's an important resource. Even though it's a flat field, it's a resource.
Protecting ag land as we protect wetlands now. That's one of your recommendations.
That's right.
And you face a lot of these issues. Being on the county commission, do you think the county will be receptive to many of these recommendations that the report has issued to protect agricultural land, Larry?
I believe they will be, and we will be. We have a fairly active agricultural community, and they aren't afraid to exercise their voice as they come and talk with us about sustaining agriculture. We have processes in our ordinances which allow for designation of agriculture lands and gives them certain protections. And we work with different groups regularly who are indicating that they want their lands to be put in agricultural protection zones so that they can, in fact, do what they want to do in those areas.
Now, there's a couple of bills going through the Utah legislature right now, maybe four of them pertaining to agriculture, and there's a couple of recommendations in the report that could be controversial for some, and we'll take a look at those when we come back.
What brings you to St. George?
Business meeting.
Staying long?
Just here for the day. Quick in and out. Hey, I just landed. Can we meet in a half an hour?
Not too bad. Why so fast?
Stay any longer? We'll run out of things to do. On second thought. Buddy, something's come up. I'm gonna need another hour. Can we push the meeting till noon? I am definitely gonna need to reschedule. Holy...
Sit back, relax, and enjoy your 45-minute flight to Salt Lake.
How'd that meeting go?
I should have booked a weekend.
pioneers of renewable energy. The birthplace of history of the Old West. A place to find recreation and discovery for the whole family. Come find your own inspiration in Beaver County, Utah. What are the words that describe the perfect destination? Come celebrate the Retreat of Winter, February 24th and 25th, with the annual Congregation of Lesser Snow Geese. Each February, thousands of these beautiful white birds use the fields and waters as a stop in their northern migration. Find out what you've been searching for.